Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Build Show. I'm JP, your host, and I'm really excited to transform lives one guest at a time by having another amazing guest with us today. Today we have Elly Johnson. Elly is a former policewoman turned communication and behavioral specialist. She shines a spotlight on the essential elements of human behavior that allow us to have stronger, more gratifying and authentic relationships. But she's not just an expert in human behavior. She actually has developed specialized techniques that allow us to influence for truth and to spot deception in high-stakes settings. She has built an expansive career, which includes consulting with national security agencies and teaching growing businesses across the world how to get the edge when it comes to interviewing, relationship building, and open communication techniques. It's my privilege to welcome to The Build Show, Elly Johnson. Elly, thank you so much. I'm gonna have to be careful talking to you to make sure that you're not reading everything that I'm saying.
I'm already reading
right?
you. I've already baselined you.
Am I being truthful? Was that a truthful introduction, or did I make it out? Okay, right?
Accurate.
That's good.
Spot on.
See, well, there you go. You know that I'm telling the truth. So just how did you get into that space about really looking at truth versus deception and all of that? I mean, that's amazing.
I think the first time I really consciously became interested in it was when I was in the police force, and you relate to this because you used to be a loss prevention person.
Yes.
And I graduated from the police force on my 22nd birthday.
Right,
and
cool.
Which was a Friday the 13th of May.
Friday the 13th, that's another story, right?
Yeah.
That's every year, you get to remind.
And then the following week, they sent us out to the streets of Melbourne, where I was living at the time, and said, "You're trained, you know what to do, off you go." So we learned how to direct traffic, that was easy to do.
Right.
And then the first real job that we went to was at the back of Myer, Melbourne, and it was a suspected shoplifter.
Right.
And so
that's what we do. We do a citizen's arrest and then we call the police.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
We have them.
So my fellow newly graduated companion and I went to the back of the store, believing that we would be able to get our first arrest and put somebody in front of a magistrate.
Right.
Yeah.
This is your first arrest. This was it,
real
right?
One, yeah.
Directing traffic.
So imagine you're him. You're the suspect.
Got
and
it.
I remember thinking at the time he was really old, right? I look back.
Wait a second. Are you saying I'm really old?
No. But I remember thinking at the time, oh, this old guy, right? But now, as I reflect on how old he was, I think he was about 45.
Gotcha.
But I was 22. So whoa. And I said to him, "Did you steal the jacket?" And he said,
"No, of course not."
And I said, "Tell me the truth, you stole the jacket." And he said,
"No, I'm telling you, I didn't steal the jacket."
And that's kind of how it went. And then my partner sort of said, "Tell us the truth." And he said, "I didn't steal anything." And that was my first aha moment that, hang on a second, it's actually not that easy to get the truth from somebody, particularly if it's against their own self-interest.
Right.
How do you do this? And I reflect.
By the way, I didn't take the coat.
You stole the jacket.
Okay.
You stole the jacket. It was you.
I did do it.
And that started my interest, thinking, how do you do that? Is there a way to influence somebody to be more truthful? Is there a way to connect on a deeper level? And so I started that journey in the police force to watch how do other more experienced people do it. And then when I left the police force and joined the corporate world, I saw that so many people were involved in situations where truth was critical. Every job interview, you want the truth, because if you put the wrong bum on the wrong seat.
Yeah. So whether it's a confession for a crime,
anything.
Actually sometimes more importantly, it's like get the right employee inside your company.
You're signing a big contract. You
Right.
You want to know where do I need to read between the lines and go on a deeper level before I sign away whatever, my life savings. On a date, you need to get the truth on the date in a relationship as time goes on. So there's so many areas where truth is critical, and we agree, most people, well, yes, I agree on that. But not a lot of people put a lot of work into thinking about how can I increase the likelihood that I could get the truth when it matters most.
Right.
And then how do I spot deception if the truth's not there? So there's, you can go as deep as you like on the topic.
And we could literally talk like for hours and hours on this, but I'm
going
to stay focused. I did because read certification, right? So I'm read interview and interrogation
so
specialist.
You could interrogate
me
we
can get back and forth. And you tell us who's
Yeah.
telling the truth out there right now. So we don't go rabbit hole into just interviews and interrogations. We'll do another show. Exactly. We'll do some other conversations, but I want to stay focused on Build and kind of your journey and how that worked. For those of you who don't know what Build is yet, Build is an acronym.
How could you not?
How could you not, right? But it stands for Build Relationships, Understand the Business. implement strategies, lead and inspire, and deliver excellence. And if we look at build, and I know it's kind of neat, I looked at your stuff before, like you have all these systems that you can overlay build on, and she's not only taken build in your life, but she's taken her truth and deception elements and put it on top of build, which is really cool. We probably don't have the time to get into all of that today. We can talk about that a little bit, but if you look at your relationship with your career and personally too, but really looking at like the success that you've had and the decision to like go after this and everything, and you looked at the category of build relationship, is there a relationship that comes up to you in your mind that is really the most impactful or one of the most impactful in your journey so far?
Yeah. There's probably a couple. Just quickly, when I left the police force, joined the corporate world, and then found myself as a single mum with 2 little girls, decided at a particular time when they were 2 and 4, that there was more in me and I needed to do something bigger. So I left the job that I had at that point to start my own business. And everyone said, what are you doing? You can't do that.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, you're getting paid well and you're a single mum now and you can't do that. And I thought, nah, there's something there that's calling me and I need to follow that something. And so I left and it was kind of pretty stupid really, and I didn't have a job and I didn't have an income.
You folled your heart. You followed the feeling, right? It's never stupid. Don't say that.
You should have something to go to.
We'll edit that out. It's not stupid to follow your heart.
No, it's But then I crossed paths with a fellow ex-cop who actually was a polygraph operator.
Oh, right.
So I already had this interest about truth and lies. And I think that was when I realized that that the universe provides, that when you know that you want something, even if you're not exactly sure what it is, if you're open to it, it'll come to you. So we crossed paths, and I said, he said, what are you doing these days? And I said, starting my own business. What is it?
Funny you should ask. I'm just figuring that out.
Yes. And anyway, to cut a long story short, we together formed the business that at that stage was called Behavioural Training Group. So we used his deeper awareness of lies and deception from the polygraph side of things, my interest in communication, reading behaviour, getting the best out of relationships.
What a great mix.
And we combined our skills and awareness and passions and created a business. And at that stage, the business was one day training program. That was it.
It's a business.
And so that was 2001.
Right.
And so I've been around for a while with this business, and it's had its ups and downs and moments. But and 6 years down the track, so to answer the question, he was obviously had a big impact in my world to take me deeper into that topic, and also was the conduit, I guess, for that business.
That's great. And what a great mix too, because you can't always hook up like interviewees to a polygraph, for companies. Well, you can with top secret clearance and things like that. You have to; it's a requirement. But you probably don't want all the candidates coming in and needing to get hooked up for that. But you still want to, use those techniques.
And then the polygraph, as you're aware, is not a lie detector; it's a behaviour change detector.
Exactly.
So we can do that. We can detect a behaviour change if you are aware, if you know what to look for, if you're tuned in.
Right, because the whole point there briefly is that the body doesn't lie, right? The body knows when you're not being honest, when you're being deceitful. So polygraph is actually, for those of you who don't know too, we'll give them, you're the expert, give them the 10
I'm not
seconds.
A polygraph operator,
I know, but what is a polygraph for people who don't know what that is?
It's measuring your breathing rate, your heart rate, your sweat rate, and it's looking for shifts or deviations associated with that stress of deception. So it's measuring change associated with stress. So it doesn't equal, hey, you changed, therefore you lied. Hey, you changed, therefore there could be deception stress associated with that question. So there's more work to do.
That's why you need the operator to actually interpret the results. That's the most important part I've found in my work with people who use that technique. But the point is, the body is actually telling signals to the world, and that picks it up that way. But you're saying that we can pick that up just by our observation as well.
Now it's not easy. I mean, to spot deception, they've done studies. How good are we at it? And most people think they're better than what they are. But we have our inbuilt truth bias, where we want to believe that the person in front of us is being truthful and honest and so on. So we miss a lot of information that's right there in front of us.
Because we see what we want to see sometimes. Great.
You see people that get involved in different scams and relationship scams, and how could they not know? It was so obvious.
I wanted to believe it,
It was so obvious. And sometimes it's not so obvious, and some people do get scammed in a really
especially from the inside out. I mean, looking outside in, sometimes it's easier to see, but you're right, when you're in that environment, it's hard to see what's happening.
You've got buy-in, and you've got heart connection
Absolutely.
and so on. So yeah.
So if we look at you then, understand the business, is there anything that leaps out in your journey from the standpoint of understanding the business that you think our listeners could benefit from today?
Yeah, I think in this particular business, after 6 years of Steve and I being in business together, I took over the business. So he went off on a different path. And
is he still a polygraph?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
He's a very well-regarded keynote speaker now. So he kind of went down that path. I took over the business. But I remember waking up the next day after we'd kind of done all the, you have this and I'll have this.
Sign off.
Yeah, all that. I woke up the next day going, oh, crap. Like, I've just lost my business partner and my front man, and who's my front man? Because he would do a lot of the front stuff, and I'd kind of come in and do some of the training as well. We'd do a lot of our stuff together. And I was the front woman, I was the back woman, I was the side woman. I was all of it. I was the everything. And so that's when I had to kind of really go next level and think, right, I need to, if I'm going to keep this business going, I need to get a bit more brave, a bit more clever, get some more knowledge into my head.
Understand the business better?
Understand the business better, understand the clients better, understand myself better too. What am I capable of? Am I playing as big as I can? What else is in me? Because if I'm going to do all those levels, I'm going to have to really step up.
Right.
So I did.
So that brings us to implement strategies. So the question is, once you understood that you needed to understand more, what strategies did you implement that made you successful?
So I ramped up the marketing. I ramped up I needed to broaden my base. I needed to know more people. I needed to expand in that regard. And social media wasn't as big back then. So
back in our day.
Back in our day.
Same generation, I get you.
I needed to get more knowledge in. So what don't I know? And that's sometimes difficult to find out what you don't know, because clearly you don't know it. Yep. But if I'm going to do this and I'm going to take this business to the next level and I'm going to do most of it by myself, what else do I need to know? So tip new knowledge in, because I think always when you're going to the next level, you need to have some more in there. Otherwise, you would have already got to the next level. Like that amount of knowledge is going to get you to where you are right now.
Right.
You want to go here? Tip some more knowledge in.
Absolutely. So, I think we have a lot of listeners out there too that struggle with the integration, or some call it balance, whatever word you want to use, about personal and professional, right? You mentioned earlier like a single mom at times and all that. So from a strategy standpoint and implementing strategies, what can you share from the standpoint of keeping that integration, keeping that balance, or ways to actually address the issue of so much going on professionally and yet you have this personal obligations as well?
And that was difficult. I felt like I was juggling a whole lot of balls in the air, and every now and then one of them would fall and smash. Like, can I do this? Am I good enough? All that self-doubt came in. Yep. There was some imposter syndrome that came into it as well. But trying to give the best opportunities for my daughters and juggling that. And I think you've got to be kind to yourself too. You have to not put too much pressure on yourself at times, because you'll burn out, or you'll run yourself into the ground, or you'll just, I don't know, cause yourself pain by blaming yourself for not being as good as you could be as a parent, or as a...
Give yourself a break, basically.
Yeah, just sort of, and go with the flow, and understand that most businesses, just like life, the trajectory is not like, whoop!
Right. Peaks and valleys. Exactly. It's a journey.
When you think you're kind of on that upward, kind of, it can drop down. So something can go wrong in the business. You can lose a client. You can, which if you've got some clients that are good kind of cash cows along the way, and you lose one of them for whatever reasons, economic reasons or relationship reasons, right, where's my cash cow gone? And then relationships as well. And you've had that journey too around life's going well, and then whoom.
Absolutely.
And if your relationship and with your kids and with your partner or with yourself is not good, that's going to impact on your business as well.
Amazing. So that brings us to lead and inspire, right? So how do you make sure that you continue to lead and inspire in your life? You're clearly doing that. I mean, you're a presence to reckon with. You come in here and everyone lights up and they feel your energy, but that can't be easy every single day. So what are your tips and tricks to lead and inspire?
I think the truth topic comes in here, where you have to get truthful with yourself. Are you walking your talk?
Right.
And I've got a model called the 5 truth circles, and one of those is around self-truth.
Right.
So a lot of people are very concerned about the lies that people tell out there. I've got a survey that I gave out to people recently, and what are the areas in your life that you would like less bullshit? It was what the survey was.
Right. Did it say that on the survey? Yeah. That's great.
And,
only in Australia.
But do you know what so many people said? What do you think that so many people said was the area in their life that they would like less BS? What's the first thing that you think a lot of people said?
I don't have any idea, actually. What is it?
Politics.
Oh, politics.
Right? So that was that. And then I interviewed some people and said, tell me about that. Oh, you know, these politicians, this and that. They had a whole
They're
big
full of
story.
BS. They're full of BS.
And you think about it, how much influence have you got over that politician and his or her behaviour? Right. Very little. But then think about our smaller circle, think about our inner circle, and then think about our circle around ourselves. Right. What BS are we telling ourselves? Isn't that the BS that we should be most concerned about?
Because we have control over it, right?
We have control over it. What are we telling somebody else that's not true? Right. So I think walking your talk, but to do that first, you have to get pretty honest with yourself. Am I walking my talk? Am I just...
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's how you lead and inspire. Yeah. Amazing. And that brings us to delivering excellence. How do you ensure that you deliver excellence in all that you do? Yeah.
For me, it's, well, I guess one of the things I've always done, and I'm doing it now, is pushing myself out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So sitting here with you.
You look really comfortable.
With cameras on me is actually out of my comfort zone. Right. Even though I can stand on a stage and present to thousands, and I've been training, teaching for 20 years, it's the camera light thing that kind of like, oh. And so much so that about 5 years ago, when I decided I wanted to do more stuff on camera and film some online courses and stuff, and then I realised I really did have a phobia. Right. To have a camera and lights on me wasn't working for me, and I would. So I did a course. So I threw myself into, okay, what am I most afraid of? That's it. Is that going to stop me from getting to the next level? Yes.
Right. Good for you.
Yes.
So let's do something about it.
Do I want to deliver excellence? Yes. Do I need to get over that fear or phobia? Yes.
Right.
So go train with people that know what they're doing.
Right.
Throw yourself into the deep end, which it was on this course that I did, Shine on Camera, with Natasha Zabella. I don't know if you know her and Tom Zettler. And the first day of this course, of course, what they did, they had a dozen nervous people that didn't like cameras.
Sure, right, because that's who they're marketing to, right?
Throw them into, on the first day, a little box that had lights and cameras all in it, and watch all the people sweat. And so, but it was good because it forced
immersion therapy, right?
It was. Exactly. It was. You had to advertise this little perfume bottle and go kind of crazy with it. And everyone was almost vomiting. One girl in particular, she said, "I can't do this. I cannot do this." So I think delivering excellence requires you to work out what's stopping you. Right. And then charge through it, and get out there and do it.
Amazing. Well, this has been an amazing conversation. It's so great to have you here. Because I know I'm going to get emails on this, and they're like, you were talking to this expert on truth and deception, and she didn't give us any techniques. So what's one technique that you can give to our listeners? Just a simple something, like if I'm on a first date, right? And
we're on a date?
Yeah, we're on a date. Okay. Hello, right? So what is it that you would...
Are you paying for dinner?
Of course. Okay. I'm a gentleman. This is what I do. It depends on what you get. You're going to get takeaway, right? That's right. Five desserts to go, please. But if you're actually looking to someone to actually tell if, like, we all want to see what we want to see, like you said before. So they want this to work out and all that. So what's some advice you can give to our listeners if they're on a first date or, something like that they should be mindful of? Well, not to call people liars and do that, but actually just be mindful of that can actually help to, point towards deception maybe, or something that points towards truth, or whatever you think will be most helpful for them in the layman's terms, right? Because they're not going through any course right now. They're just going to take what you take and try to apply it to their lives.
So it can apply to any situation where there is a higher likelihood of hidden or twisted truth.
Okay.
So
is a date one of those, you think? Usually?
100%. I just done that.
Because I'm a multi-millionaire with my private jets.
Exactly. Show us the keys.
That's it.
Just on that, I was talking to a lady the other day, coaching her, and she's 53, and she was telling me how she just hates the online dating space, and all these guys are liars. They rock up and they don't look anything like they look, and they're like this big, or they've got no hair.
The picture is wrong. What are you saying? My picture looks just like this, just so we know. That's right.
And I said, okay. So I had a look at her online dating profile to kind of help her through that. she's got herself at 48 years old. She's 53. Right. and I said to her,
walk the talk.
Hang on a second. Why do you have your age less than what it is? And she said, oh, no, you have to do that. You have to do that because guys do this search thing between 45 and 50, and they cut off at 50. So if you're 53, because I'm a young 53, she said.
Right. I'm a 48 53, clearly.
She said so, and I said, but you can't. If you want truth, you can't go out there giving deception.
Right.
So you've got to be careful of what you're giving out. So whether that's a date or in an interview. So if I'm interviewing you to come work for my company, and I start spinning BS about how good it is, how big it is, how this, but that's not true. But I expect truth from you, then there's a mismatch there, an authenticity kind of clash. So
I love that. Look at what you can control, right? Don't even look at them.
Yeah.
Actually, just be authentic
you want truth,
and honest.
You want authenticity. You got to give that too. But the other thing is to. It's all good and well to spot deception, which is hard to do. We get it right about 52% of the time. You might as well toss a coin.
52%. I like that. A little bit better than
52, 54. Yeah.
That's right.
And so you go back a step. We go back a step and say, in this situation, in this high-stakes situation, which a date is, because you can go and make decisions based on that interaction. So in an interview, in a business deal, whatever the case is, you're about to make a big decision that could impact on your life or the lives of others. That's a high-stakes situation in my book. So rather than go, I'm going to be a lie spotter. Oh, he scratched his nose. I read in a book.
He looked up and to the left.
Yeah, I read in a book that if he doesn't look at me, he must be lying. So rather than go back a step and go, think about motivations. So what might be your motivation, and how can I mitigate that? How can I make it safe? More safe. You still get to choose.
Right.
So the person you're meeting with or interviewing, 100% of the time, they get to choose how honest they are.
Right.
So you get to choose that. All I can do is think about what could I do to make it as safe as possible for you to be more honest.
Right.
So that's the step, and you can apply that in any sort of situation. So how do I make it safe? Connecting with you on a deeper level, so you actually feel that we are connected, that you owe me something, there's some kind of heart connection in there, is important too. But also I can blend, I can condition you, I can prime you towards honesty.
So I feel like it's okay.
I can talk about honesty and truthfulness and build that into my introduction or my preamble or those early stages. You need to know how to do that. There's rights and wrongs for that. But then what I'm doing is planting a seed in your head. You still get to choose.
Yeah.
But if I also talk about, if I'm talking about a date, I can up front talk about how important truthfulness and honesty is, and give you some things that you can see that I'm actually being vulnerable, I'm actually being honest and truthful. You still get to choose, but that can increase the likelihood that we can get truth from the start.
And how great is that for parenting too? I was just listening to you talk about the environment for children to be truthful versus trying to hide, right?
And we do teach our kids from an early age to lie. And
I didn't do it. No cookies here. Cookies all over the mouth, right?
Yeah, that's right. And they watch us interact with other adults and on the phone. No, I can't make it today. I'm busy. And they're like, you're not busy, Mum.
Right.
You're not doing anything. Like, that was a lie. And then, of course, it's Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, but we won't go there.
They say there's 3 keys to parenting effectively, and it's example, example, example. That's it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's the most important part.
Yeah, and I'm a stepmom to 2 little boys now, but I've got 2 daughters that are 22 and 24. And what I'm learning now is second time around, I'm like, can I just go back in a time machine?
Right.
And because there's some things that I want to do, and it's very much around that setting example. I think I was pretty good, and I did a pretty good job, but there's certainly some things that I'd tweak.
Right.
Number 1, don't watch the news.
Right.
Like
what's the point? I don't.
My kids grew up I was a bit of a news junkie then, so I'd get up in the morning and put the Today Show on, and that would be playing in the background while I'd get breakfast ready and do everything, and then I'd come home and put the news on.
And all that negativity.
And I apologised to my daughters for them being raised in a house that had the news on all the time, because it was just negativity. So we don't have a TV now.
There you go.
So.
Well, we could talk for forever, and I really, really appreciate the conversation. Finally, just because we have to wrap it up here, how can people get a hold of you? What can you offer for them in all of your teachings and courses and speaking engagements or what?
Lots of stuff on my website, so that's ellyjohnson.com.
Okay.
And there's a good download, I think, that would fit with what we're talking about now. So that's ellyjohnson.com/5 ways. So that's 5 ways that truth can bring you more success in business or in your personal life.
Cool. So, well, check that out.
Yeah.
And I so appreciate you being on the show. I hope I've been more than truthful with you. And I hope I've given you the environment that you feel like you can be truthful as well. Because truth is important to me. How's that? Did I do it?
Yeah, that's good. I like it.
Good. You can do that too. So thank you all for being truthful in your lives. And thank you for joining us here. And we'll see you next time on The Build Show. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. That's a wrap, as they say. We'll see you next time on The Build Show.